Today's guest, Margaret Ingraham, works for a company, Sherrill Manufacturing. In fact, Sherrill Manufacturing started as a result of the Oneida brand taking their operations over to China. What does Sherrill Manufacturing do? They are the last remaining flatware company that is actually made here in the United States. And what's interesting is their company is on the GSA Advantage. So they have a GSA schedule for the government. And what Margaret came to me for was she wanted help trying to identify who was the end buyer for her product. So again, she's getting orders from GSA, but she's having a difficult time trying to find out who is the end buyer. And sometimes the orders are $50 or $90 or $200, but she just wants to call them and thank them and let them know that they actually bought a Made in America product. And so what's happening is she is competing with other companies who are advertising as Made in the USA or Made in America, and they're actually not. So Margaret came to me and said, Eric, can you help me out? And I thought the best way to help her out was by sharing her story with you and the world out there. So that way people can maybe offer up some sort of solutions, or someone who has a better handle on how to identify the end buyers for GSA. She would love your assistance. She would love your help. You can reach out to myself or Margaret. All of her contact information will be in the show notes page. By the way, at the very end, we're going to feature a clip of Margaret on ABC News, and they're talking about her story as a result of what's happening with GSA and the actual changes that are coming down the pipeline. Furthermore, we have attachment to a link on our website here on the actual YouTube that tells you about the experience she had when President Trump invited her company to a Made in America Day at the White House, and they were served with silverware, flatware that was actually made in China. So again, we'd like to try and help Margaret out in some kind of way, shape, or fashion. I am taking a stance. This is a cause that I feel closely to. No, it's not a paid endorsement, but I did feel like as though if there was some way that I could help, I definitely want to do that. And I believe that this is the best way in which I can serve her and bring attention to what's going on out here in the federal arena, because what we want to do is we want to try and improve things and make them better. And if we have companies that are actually standing by what they say, what they do, we want to try and encourage more of that. And I think that's what the federal government is about. That's what a lot of their policies in place are about. That's what the Buy USA state means. And so we want to try and help support our local home-based companies that are actually making products. So again, stay for the end to watch the clip from ABC News. And then at the very end, after that, we're going to have a little bit of bloopers, which will show kind of the lighter side of Margaret and myself. All right. Thanks for watching. As always, we'll see you later. Margaret, you and we were on a call about a week ago talking about your company, Sherrill Manufacturing. And so you were telling me some things that I thought I definitely want to share this with the world. And that's why I invited you back today. And I want to do an official video to post and share with my audience out there regarding some of the things that's happening in the government, and they can see maybe a different light, a different perspective, and also get a chance to know your company a little bit. Because for me, if you have a company that makes a product that's, made in America, made in the USA, and you're having a really hard time working with the federal agencies who promote Made in the USA, Made in America products, I thought that was something that, for me at least, as a proud American, would be ecstatic to present this to my audience and to the people out there and everyone that's watching on YouTube might show. So welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I love the opportunity.
No, I'm happy. I know you were hesitant at first.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's all right. Well, I'm happy to have you here. If you want to, just tell us your first and last name and introduce yourself.
So my name is Margaret Ingraham, and I am one of the owners of Sherrill Manufacturing from beautiful upstate New York.
Okay. All right, great. And Sherrill Manufacturing, what do you guys actually make? What does Sherrill Manufacturing produce?
So we make beautiful, good quality 1810 stainless steel flatware, which is knives and forks and spoons for dining, all different types of patterns and It's a very high quality product, and it's the only flatware made in the United States of America, which is a great thing to be able to offer, especially any government agencies or people that are looking to support Made in America product.
Now, the reason why I brought you back was because you said you were having some challenges in the government, particularly in GSA.
Yeah, it's been hard for us as a small hub zone business to make sure that we're properly marketing to the right people. And lots of times you can go down all these mazes and get to the end of the maze and find out there are more mazes. So as I've progressed along my research, I've learned that I won't always find flatware in a study that I do in FPDS or something else. I really have to figure out and identify how people are searching for our product, but lots of people might just look up silverware, even though it's not silver, it's stainless steel. So it's a matter of identifying how people are searching for you. But then when you get to the end of some of that, you find out you can't even search for it because it's under a bigger umbrella of a DFAC or a whole kitchen overhaul. And those go through larger companies. And a lot of those larger companies don't have a huge loyalty to Made in America product. They might prefer to buy a product from China that's a lot less expensive than our Made in America flatware. So then you've got to market yourself in a way that would hopefully generate an interest in these companies and the minds of the people that work in these companies for working with and supporting manufacturing in our country. So it's kind of tough.
Now, what we discussed last week was that, and again, you sent me the link to the, what was that, ABC News special?
Yes.
Okay. And so what, can you talk about the special and what was the focus in terms of that?
Yes, so they did an investigation into some of the products that are listed on GSA Advantage as being manufactured and made in our country when they're not. So this is happening a lot, and it's something that we have to kind of police because there are so many products listed on GSA Advantage that they can't keep track of every single one of them. They really rely on us to say, hey, this company is claiming their forks and their knives and their spoons are made in the United States, and they're not. And then what happens is you report them. The company sometimes alters where they're saying the product is made to another trade compliant country when it's not made there either. So it's a matter of constantly trying to double check and make sure that products are not falsely advertised as being made in the United States on GSA Advantage. They've been very good at wanting to police this at GSA, and the story that was done by David Muir on ABC World News Tonight, really tried to address this fact, and GSA is taking steps to fix it, and they want to know from anybody if there are products falsely listed on the site.
Now, what we'll do is at the very end of this clip, we will have that clip from ABC World News at the very end. So stay tuned, and everyone can watch that clip at the very end. So okay, if I'm hearing you correctly, GSA doesn't have all the resources to necessarily police it. They're asking the actual companies to police each other.
Yes, exactly. And then contact the contracting officer for that particular business and make them aware of it. So you just simply say, hey, this is listed under your name, and I would like you to look into it because this product is not made in the United States, and they're claiming that it is. Okay.
So how does that benefit you?
Well, it benefits us because once they do the research, they're able to take those companies and their Made in America listing off of GSA Advantage, and then it narrows down the number of companies for us to one because it's only us.
You're the only manufacturer of, what do you call it, cutlery or flatware?
It's called flatware. So knives and forks and spoons. Some people call it silverware. So it's flatware, known as silverware, and we're the only maker of stainless steel flatware in the United States.
Now, your story goes back further. Your company was originally another name, and then they moved?
So a lot of people are familiar with Oneida silverware, and Oneida has a huge tradition. It's known throughout the world, and Oneida ended up taking their manufacturing overseas in 2005, and they left this community without a lot of jobs and some of the people without their pensions. And so the next day, Matt Roberts and Greg Owens, who worked together in the factory, decided to reopen it as Sherrill Manufacturing. Sherrill's the name of the city, and it's the smallest city in New York State. It's a beautiful little area, and so it's the same factory. They wanted to keep the manufacturing going, so they had a smaller staff, and they went for it, and they have had a lot of growth over the last, however many years, 14 years, 15 years.
Right.
So they really believed in the Made in America product. They believed in the people in the community, and everybody has been behind this. So we're really hoping that people will hear our story, because we have a great product to offer, and the community and the factory workers would love for people to know more about it.
Wow. And now, what can people listening, so we know that the issue with GSA and the Made in America product, there was another issue that we talked about before, which is when they're ordering your product, they're buying off the GSA schedule, the end user, sometimes you don't know who the actual end user is.
Yeah, so we'll see the address of where it's getting shipped to, but then I don't know who ordered it. So I'll call the Air Force Base or whoever, and I'll try to figure out who might have ordered that. But lots of times the other people at the end don't know who ordered it, and it's a long search to try and get to sometimes no answer on who actually purchased this. But once we find out who it is, no matter how big or small the order is, I love to call them and say, hey, thank you so much for ordering our product. How'd you guys find out about us? And then I like to just say, do you know anybody else that would ever need knives or forks or spoons? And so people have been very welcoming at all of the different locations I've called. They've been welcoming of my phone call. They can't believe I'm calling to say thank you, even for like a $90 order. And then they share with me whatever they think they can share to help us to spread the word.
So for all the people that are here listening, what can we do to help?
Well, when you sit down to your next meal and you lift up your fork, look at the back of it and think, I wonder if this is made in our country. And if you ever have a need for this, I encourage you to look us up. We have a capability statement. We were just certified as a hub zone business last November. We have a BPA on GSA. We're on GSA Advantage. And just take a look at our product and our story. There's lots of news stories on our site. There are a lot of news stories on our site that you could look at just to learn more.
So we were talking about, there are some other things that you needed as well, right? Now, we talked about GSA. You mentioned DLA. They're also a buyer of yours.
Yep. And they do a lot of buying through some of the larger companies that help, save them time by providing the whole kit and caboodle, the whole package of whatever kitchen needs there are. Okay.
But with DLA, so they're the ones that are, the larger entities are buying through DLA.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's where you're having a hard time making the connections.
Well, yes. I mean, it's basically having to make connections with these really large companies and say, hey, there's value to consider us as an American-made product for some of your needs that include flatware on these big projects. They're very big projects. So flatware is a small percentage of that business.
Okay.
But I just want them to, know about us and think about us instead of buying a product from, a non-compliant country.
Okay. One other area that we mentioned that we discussed briefly was FedMall. And on the FedMall, you need to become EDI certified.
Yes. So I just learned the other day that either encrypted email or EDI certified, but we do want to become EDI certified, and that takes a little bit of legwork. So we're just looking for, an opportunity to find a really good match in that regard.
Okay. All right. So if someone out there knew about the EDI certification or knew a good firm that did EDI certification, they should reach out to myself or respond to the comments. Okay. All right. Wonderful. No, I was just trying to figure out how could we help serve your cause and further that effort.
Yeah. I mean, that would be great. Any ideas? I love ideas. People, like I said, have been very, very kind to me whenever I do reach out and get in touch with people. They love our story. I always call it like a Hoosiers basketball team story. People, it's the little engine that could. You just keep going and believing in what you're doing, and slowly the word spreads and business grows, and you're just like so thankful. I would be very thankful for anybody's thoughts or ideas, and that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay. No, that's wonderful. Listen, like I said, when we spoke last week, I said, I got to have you on and do a show on you because, again, it's one thing for me to go out and try and seek out all the answers, but with all the audience and the people that are watching, that are participating, it's great. I know that we have people from the government that watch the show. We have people from the respective agencies, and I just thought if we could take someone out there who's familiar with GSA, familiar with GSA Advantage, maybe can help identify some of the end users so that she can reach out to them. That's what we're looking for. And at the same token, if we could spread the word about working with a USA, made in USA company, right?
Yes.
Manufacturer, then that would be awesome as well. So again, everyone out there that's listening to this, that watched this, like I said, at the very end, we're going to have all of the contact information for Sherrill Manufacturing in the show notes, as well as the email to Margaret at the bottom of the screen for those who are watching. And then we're going to have that clip from ABC World News in short order at the very end. So that way you can continue watching this, and then you'll see the clip at the end.
And
Anything else?
Think of us when you're eating with your fork, okay, guys?
No. Listen, thank you so much, Mark. I'm happy that you came.
Thank you. I'm very grateful. I hope you have a good week, okay?
Yes, I definitely will. Thank you so much.
Finally, Made in America. Many cities and towns and the military try to buy Made in America. What happens when the label is wrong?
We've been asking the question for so long, they see us coming.
I'm David Muir with ABC.
Yeah, I know.
How are you?
They usually know what we're going to ask before we even ask it.
Where was this made?
Made in China. I know you're sure.
But the newest question didn't come from us. It came from a factory in upstate New York making American silverware, asking why is silverware being sold on a government website to towns and cities, to the military, labeled Made in America, even though some of it is made in China.
And nobody can tell us why.
And this is why those factory workers are fighting mad.
Think about this. For every $100,000 we sell, it's probably a job. That's 30, 40 more jobs that we can provide in Sherrill, New York.
It turns out the government says it doesn't police this website. It's the third-party distributor of the products listing their own information. After our report, that website gave those distributors an ultimatum: correct the listings or be barred from selling. And tonight, word of a victory. Sherrill Manufacturing in upstate New York telling us the other silverware made overseas has now been removed from the GSA website. They say it's no small victory. They're convinced it will create American jobs.
The majority talking. I actually have something in my sheet.
You do? Do I?
I'm going to check mine.
Can you see me? Can you see me?
I see you. Yes, I see you. And then that way we could be serious. Or not.
Do you ever do this and show that your left sock is on your right foot by accident?
Hey. Yeah, mother.
How do you solve a problem?
You know, I was trying to send this. I wanted to post this today.